Kia ora koto katoa. I speak in solidarity with the event Justice and Dignity for Indian Minorities. I want to begin by acknowledging the organizers of this event, Muslims of Auckland, United Against Hate, Migrant Workers Association, and Aotearoa Alliance of Progressive Indians. Over the last decade, we have seen the consolidation of hate in India. This hate is organized on the principles and ideology of Hindutva, a political formation that seeks to organize India as a Hindu nation. At the heart of Hindutva is the production of the other, is the creation of India's Muslim minorities as the other that are projected as the threats, which then serve as the basis for the deployment of symbolic and material forms of violence directed at India's Muslim minorities, but also India's Christian and Sikh minorities. Now, the infrastructure of Hindutva is established and reproduced by a political apparatus that legitimizes this hate through a variety of strategies that seek systematically to disenfranchise India's Muslims. And we have seen this in the form of various patterns of attacks that have been targeted at India's Muslim minorities, often legitimized by the infrastructure of the state. Over the last 5 years, we have seen the rise in lynchings that target Muslims, often under the construction of beef as food that is polluting India's Hindu ecosystem, and under the guise of attacking cow smugglers. Various forms of targeted agendas have been carried out. On a similar note, we have seen the ways in which organized riots have been directed at Muslims, and these riots have been often established and reproduced by a communicative infrastructure that perpetuates the hate. We have seen politicians that are attached to the ruling party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, that utter hate speech and deploy hate speech in order to mobilize violence. We have seen a range of Hindutva-aligned organizations, all the way from the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, the VHP, to more fringe organizations that have participated in the use of violence to target Muslims. Now, this is set up by a digital communicative infrastructure that actually produces this hate and makes it go viral through digital logics. Now, in the digital infrastructure, we see a range of strategies, all the way from communicative inversions that invert a materiality, producing Muslims as the threat. So we see this in the form of Corona Jihad, the narrative that Muslims were deploying COVID as a terrorist strategy to target India, to love jihad, that Muslim men are targeting Hindu women for conversion through love, to narratives of land jihad, that Muslims are seeking to take over land. And this discursive architecture then has been complemented by various forms of organized violence. These forms of organized violence have ranged from attacking Muslim prayers, targeting spaces where Muslims live, attacking Muslim spaces of life and livelihood, attacking Muslim businesses, to actual forms of directed violence. Here in Aotearoa, we have seen the ways in which the discursive apparatus of Hindutva is perpetuated by Hindutva-aligned media. These are often mainstream media in the diaspora that are funded by the crown structures. We have also seen the concerns expressed by Indian Muslims in the diaspora. These concerns often reflect the notion of being silenced, the notion of not being heard. In our own research work, we have consistently heard Indian Muslims articulate that their concerns raised about the presence of Hindutva in the diaspora have not been heard. They also have raised concerns about the presence of Hindutva within the architectures of police and security. And moreover, they have raised a concern of appropriate pedagogy on Hindutva that is directed at police and security, so that adequate steps can be taken when Hindutva violence plays out here in the diaspora. So, once again, I am humbled to be here in solidarity with this event. It is vital that the voices of India's minorities, India's progressives are heard, particularly in the backdrop of this hate that has taken genocidal proportions. According to a number of reports, the volume and content of hate that we are seeing in India right now actually are offering warnings that there is an impending genocide in India that would be directed at Muslims if adequate preventive steps are not taken now. So I think this event is really important. Listening to these voices is really important. It is also really important for communities in Aotearoa to recognize that not only do we have an ethical responsibility to speak up against this infrastructure of genocide in the world's largest democracy, but also that we have a commitment to Indian minorities here in the diaspora who are seeking spaces for their voices to be heard. So let's speak up, let's speak out, let's watch and witness this violence as it is taking place in India. Let's witness the violent discourse as it is taking place here in Aotearoa and more broadly in Australia and New Zealand as a region. And let's continue to commit us to the struggle to fighting against hate.